Hey everyone, this is Elias from Ref Match Media, and today we're going to be test driving the 2021 Mercedes AMG GLA35 4MATIC. Now, this thing doesn't just look good, but it performs so well. Let's get started. We get started in the front and we can take a look at this massive Mercedes grille with the massive emblem as well. This thing is huge. It's nice design as well. Nice little AMG badge. We have some opening in here for cooling of the engine as well as down there. A couple of things with this is the LED headlights are so good. They're extremely bright, nice design to them as well. And when we look at the front as a whole, it did remind me of a Ninja Turtle. So it does kind of have that Ninja Turtle shape to it. I like it. You know, I can't unsee it anymore, but it definitely has a great design. Now, we've test driven the GLB as well. And my thing was, why do we have all these different things, these different Mercedes SUVs? But I kind of, you know, why did we have the GLA when we have the GLB? But now with the styling, I'm kind of thinking the opposite. Why do we have the GLB when we have the GLA? I like this front. I like this front more on this than the GLB. The GLB's a little bit more squared off. It can have a dated look. I can see that being a dated design. But overall, this front end looks so nice. Now, this one has a couple of things that are not optioned out on this. We have a little, well, it looks like a camera, but it's blocked off because this one doesn't have the 360 view system on it. At least this one equipped, but it is an option. And you can also get this illuminated. Yeah, not sure why you would, but if you got the money, sure, why not? Well, let's take a look under the hood and see what we got there. We get under the hood and here we have what Mercedes call the AMG Enhanced 2.0 liter inline four turbo engine. Now, with this, we're pumping out 302 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. This is connected to the 8-speed auto, and it's going through the 4MATIC system. What's funny about this is when I was taking a look at the options for the GLA as far as the engine, the GLA has the standard 2.0 liter that we experienced in the GLB. Wasn't bad, wasn't, you know, needed a little bit more. And I feel like the AMG Enhanced version in this definitely made it better. I started laughing because the AMG Enhanced, I'm like, so did AMG just come over to Mercedes and say, hey, you might want to tweak this little thing, and then just kind of left, or said, here's some notes, just a little bit of our AMG flavor, as opposed to the hand-built or handcrafted AMG on the 45, which boosts more power. But I think this was fine. This was great. The scary thing about this is it's not a lot of power, but the way that it transfers it from the cylinder and the turbo and all this stuff down to the ground is exceptional. And that's what made this thing scary as hell to drive at first. Yeah, it's not a lot of power, but when you get the most out of your power, it definitely is a lot of power. Yeah, we have a nice big turbo up front here. This thing was really good. One thing that really was bad about this is the sound. And that's because this has the sound being pumped inside with the speakers. Was not something I liked. If that was AMG enhancing it, take it away. It doesn't need it. I've heard the 2.0, the standard one without that, and it sounded fine. It sounded fine. And plus the fact that this is even better, you know, better performance. You don't need it. You don't need it, Mercedes. You don't need it, AMG. Please, please take that away, because you're killing the engine experience as far as the sound goes. Well, let's take a look at those wheels and tires and see what we got there. We get down to the wheel and tire package and it's meaty. There's a lot of meat going on. So we do have the 10-spoke AMG 19-inch wheels we'll start with that. These guys are exceptional. This is probably one of my favorite OEM wheels that I've seen in a while. Reason why is Mercedes is taking a chance with having a unique design, and this isn't a common wheel design you see. I like to call it the stovetop burner, because it looks like that with this ring around here on this 10-spoke design, and it's in the flat black, which with this amazing red, it definitely looks incredible. And we have the 235/50, yes, 50 Pirelli P Zero tire. These things are incredible. This setup not just looks great, but performs well. There is a ton of grip with this, and paired up with the 4MATIC system that this has, you're just gonna get grip. It's very, you know, like I mentioned, when you accelerate, this thing feels like it's just going, and it's great because it's taking account for all that power and putting it down to the ground. Not like some other cars that are overpowering their wheel and tire and their drivetrain. So this works really well. And again, this design is so nice. This is definitely the design that when I was building this 35, this was the one I wanted to get. And another thing with the brakes, these are the cross-drilled AMG brakes. These things are phenomenal. They definitely have a nice bite to them and will bring this small, bigger guy, you know, or big, small guy to a stop. Well, let's take a look at what we have on the side. We take a look at the side and we can clearly see the shape is very CUV-like, but it's kind of wants to not be that, but also be that. Well, let's take a look at the wheels in comparison to the whole car. And we can see that the 19-inch size, I like it. I don't want to go bigger in this because the Meteor tire just looks so nice filling in those wheel wells. I think this is a great proportion of wheel to the vehicle. And we also have the Night Package on this, which gives us a lot of black trim. So black trim on the mirrors, on the windows as well. And I think it just looks really good with this. So definitely one of my favorite options to check on with that. The other thing that's kind of missing in this, so we'll take a look at it better, but there's something missing there. There's a line that needs to go there. But don't worry, it is an option. You can put the AMG Aerodynamics package on this and you get a nice, granted it looks a little racer boy, but it just looks very aggressive, and that's the one I would definitely check on when you're building that GLA35. So this one just has a subtle little kind of spoiler, I guess you could say there, but overall it's a nice little shape, and the doors are nice and big. You're able to go into the back, and with this, let me lock the car and see. So again, folding mirrors, which is nice. Let's see how the handle treats us. Yes, that's exactly what we want. We don't want to have to press a button, anything, or do anything fancy to get the door open. We have the key in our pocket. We just pull the handle, we're good to go. And you can also lock it by just doing that. There's a little sensor there, which helps out. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the back and see what we have there. We come to the back and we can see this design is nice. I love these taillights and their LEDs. We have this little design aspect. Yeah, it's closed off, but still nice to see at least. And yeah, we have a nice, fairly good visibility through this rear window here. We have a wiper because obviously it's definitely gonna need it when you clean this. Because this is the Night Package, you actually have black tip exhaust in this. Awesome. One of my favorite things with an exhaust tips besides titanium, but obviously you're at that point paying titanium prices. But it's definitely a nice design, and I can confirm that it is not really 100% the exhaust. So, so the tubing definitely goes to the tip in the back, but it's more there for design, unfortunately. Another thing, let's take a look at my favorite thing, the key fob. Now with this, there's not much to do. You have your lock, unlock, your trunks button. There is no remote start on the remote. There is a remote option with this, with their Mercedes ME or Me subscription. Yes, you have to pay to get some cool stuff on the device, on your iOS device. Just give it to me. I'll pay it up front. I'd rather do that than have to be paying for a subscription. But add it to the key as well. I don't want to have to depend on my device. If I just have my key fob, which I always have with me, I can go ahead and just turn on the car to get it warmed up or cooled down. But let's take a look at the trunk. We go ahead and we press the button back here, and it will open up, and there's surprisingly a lot of space. There is a ton of space back here. I was surprised. Another thing that I loved about this is there's a lot of little compartments and tie downs. So we have one on the side here, one on the side here with the first aid kit. And we also have some, like a band here to tie this down. And we have your hooks. So there's a lot of utility to this, which is nice. Another thing as well, Cadillac, we reviewed the XT4, which is kind of the competition for this. And this is done right. The little cover in the back, the cover, it's actually hinged all the way back so that you have all this space to get in, because that's what a hatchback CUV is, you know, that's what you're gonna want. You don't want something halfway here not allowing you. So we have that space, which is nice. You know, I have a couple of things in here, plenty of space, definitely not a complaint. And up here we have a couple of buttons. We have to close it or to lock it. So if you're grabbing the groceries, you just want to go ahead and push there, it's going to lock the car, which is a nice little button to have. So yeah, that's pretty much, and you can also do it with the remote. And there's a button in there. It's a little difficult to always find, but overall it's a nice little CUV. Well, let's go ahead and go for a ride. We're gonna have to go in because there's no start, and go for a fun little adventure. You get inside the Mercedes and it's a Mercedes. I say that because this interior is extremely familiar to what the other Mercedes we've tested look like. With that being said, I guess that's a good thing if you're wanting to get an entry-level Mercedes, but maybe not a good thing if you're spending 6 figures on a Mercedes and your interior looks the same as maybe a $50,000 Mercedes. Anyways, it's still good. It's awesome. So we'll get started with the doors, and it's one of my favorite things, as always, is having the seat adjustment on the door. Brilliant. I can't speak enough about that, because you're always having to fidget down here. Granted, it takes a while to get used to it. My wife is always like, you know, doing the whole thing of trying to check where the settings were, and it was just a matter of telling her, well, it's on the door. She goes, oh yeah, Mercedes. So yeah, awesome there. One thing that was a little awkward is the door handle is a little bit on the lower side, so I kept kind of reaching for it a little bit higher. Small detail. Now we get to the button for the heated seats. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but there is a blank there. There is a blank plate on this specific spec'd out model. Yeah, I know what that plate is, and yeah, it's because I know what it is. It's kind of one of those things of like, I really miss it, and I guess subconsciously I kept wanting it. So we'll get to that next, which is the seats. The seats in this are awesome. They are incredibly comfortable. You can really set them up the way that you want. They're a little bit on the sportier side, and these aren't the super sporty ones. There are tons of different options you have with the Mercedes, and the colors and the options as well, because you could get heated and cooled seats. That would be my go-to. If you want to have a Mercedes, if you want to get this, definitely check that box, because the cooling makes a world of a difference in these cars. And I felt that when we were on our road trip, and it was, you know, the car got hot, and you know, when we went to we actually went to Dr. Pepper Museum here in Waco, but yeah, it got hot. It got hot, and then on my ride back, it was hot. So the cooled seats are definitely a plus with this. And at that point, that little plate will no longer be there, and you'll have a physical button. And in the front, we have kind of this little thing for your rest your knees, or I don't know what this specific part at the bottom is, but for road trips, it was a must because I didn't have to suspend my legs as much, and I didn't get tired. So that's a nice comfort. Plus, the seat kinetics in this, yes, I can't speak I can't speak any better. I don't know what the phrase is. They're just that good. So the seat kinetics, for those that haven't seen my other reviews for Mercedes, it's where Mercedes adjusts your seat every so often and ever so slightly. It's such a small thing. It literally is like if you were moving to adjust, but it does it better for you. And I don't know what it does. I don't know if it senses your pressure on the seat that changes it, but I can tell you that is such an amazing system because it makes you super comfortable. My wife, I saw her when we were on our road trip. She was kind of moving around, and I was like, you need seat kinetics? She goes, yeah. So I turned it on, and immediately I can see her stress just relax. Now, I wish this had the massage option, but it doesn't. I'm trying to remember if this was available. I don't believe massage option is available in the GLA. I might be wrong, but yeah, the seats are incredible, very comfortable, very nice to look at. Again, there's better options, and definitely go with the cooled option. Now we get to the steering wheel, and yeah, there's a lot going on in this steering wheel, and it's a lot of fun stuff. Now we have the standard kind of Mercedes controls here. We have like a little joystick on the left to control your gauge clusters here, and we have this one on the right to control what is in your infotainment system. Now this one is a extra wheel, so this is the AMG wheel, and it has the flat bottom and it has the flat-ish sides because it's still got some curve to it. Now with this one is the leather wrapped option. There's a ton of different ones. You can get the non-AMG, which is just a round boring wheel, which you don't want to get. You want to spend the money and get this one. You can get Alcantara, but yeah, the upkeep on that might be a little on the, you know, a little bit more, especially like my wife says, I'm gonna have lotions on my hand, and I know it's going to just deteriorate the steering wheel. So definitely go with the leather for long term. I think leather is definitely, now Alcantara feels awesome, but leather I think is a great thing. And on top of that, we have the AMG controls, the AMG controls for the driving modes down here. This is also an option. And with Mercedes, yeah, everything is an option, which is great. There's not many packages, so you can really fine tune and make things the way that you want them to be. So this one does have the little controls at the bottom, which is great. You have your auto start stop that you can trigger here. You also have the comfort, the suspension, sorry. Right now it's in comfort, and we have the drive mode. Right now we're in comfort, just so that we can hear everything that I'm saying, which I'll get to soon as to why I'm saying that. But yeah, I mean, the steering wheel feels great. When you're in Sport Plus mode, it feels so tight. It's really a nice, heavy feeling wheel. It's definitely a comfortable wheel, and it's extremely sporty. I love this thing. We get to the gauge cluster, and this has a big display. So it is a screen, it's all digital, and it's awesome. I love it. There are so many ways you can configure this. I found my sweet spot. There are some different times where I like things in a certain way, but overall, I found kind of what I like. And for my thing, it's the speedometer on the left, the tach on the right. Inside of the tach, we have the fun gauges. We have the boost, and we have the horsepower and torque measures there. So this is kind of my fun setting for this. And in the middle, I have my miles per gallon. Yeah, this I'm still kind of in a trip mode where, you know, we were trying to see how much we can get with this. But yeah, that's what we have set up here. There's tons and tons of ways to configure this, and it looks beautiful. It's super clear, it's super crisp, and there's a lot of information, but it's not overwhelming as far as what you're seeing. It's overwhelming with the menu. So it's yeah. So that's that. Now we go to the infotainment screen, and that's what I mean. That's a little bit overwhelming. I've had about 4 Mercedes now, and that would equate to about 4 weeks of Mercedes driving or Mercedes systems. And oh, cancel. I forgot this has.
How can I help?
Cancel. So I forgot that when you say the M word with this, it actually activates the voice system in this so that it can help you. It's the M equivalent of Siri. Okay, so we have that. Now, the reason I say this is a little bit more complicated is because there's a lot to it. There's a lot of things in this, and it has taken me about a month to understand and be comfortable with this system. So if you get a Mercedes, just be ready to get a little bit overwhelmed at first, but once you get into the groove, you'll remember those. They're very intuitive. They're very great systems. It's not like others where I've had three menus and 3 main menus, and then you have a ton of sub menus. No, the breakdown is very, very good. It's just a lot. Now, the only thing with this, and I always kind of have this issue with these displays, is they're too close. They're too close to the steering wheel, or too close to the driver's side. They do need to have about, I would say about 3 inches over to the right. And the reason why is because I can't see from here to the left. I cannot see what is going on there because of my steering wheel. My steering wheel is in the way. So the thing with this is there's a little bit of a vital information right here. That is the AC temperature for you as the driver. If you don't have it in sync with the driver, because this is dual climate, then you're needing to kind of peek over or do one of this to see what is your temperature set to. Yeah. And with the German engineering, I know it has to be perfectly aligned sensor, but it definitely is lacking that, where it needs to be pushed off a little to the side to be able to be visible. And you know, we have the standard Apple CarPlay. You do connect via USB-C, so make sure you have a USB-C cable. Even though they in the paper they give us about the Mercedes, oh god, here it comes. Okay, we say we didn't activate it. With the paper, it said you had to pay for the USB-C adapter. So yeah, I remember in the E-Class review, someone said it comes with it, except they're charging you for it. At least just hide it in the price. Don't itemize it. Yeah. So thankfully I have my own cable, because obviously this is a press car, so someone either they didn't put it in this or someone took it. But yeah, so I have my own USB-C cable. We come a little bit lower, and here we have the German precision, very industrial design. Like I always said, you know, you have that brushed aluminum look to the very, again, industrial looking AC vents. They are awesome. I love them. You know, you can turn them to close them, just turn it to open, and they're pretty good at adjusting to any angle. Yeah, it just looks really nice in this. And then we have our AC controls. Very simple, and that's coming from a Mercedes, which we've, yeah. So, so the AC controls are extremely simple. We come down and we have this little opening down there, which is nice, where you have an area where you can put your phone. With this does have an option for a wireless charger. I remember the wireless charger in the GLB. It was not good. It was not good. It was a flat thing, and it just kept shifting the phone with any small movement, and it just, the sweet spot was very, very tiny for it to actually start charging. So this does have it. It is a slightly different looking design that I saw online. I would still get it. I would turn it on. You know, and when you're building your Mercedes GLA35, you want to do that because resale value, I guess, and just give it a shot. I mean, it's yeah, I would do that. But this one doesn't have it. It's a compartment. It's nice to put your phone in there. And then we have your USB-C port, which is nice, right in there. And we have our cup holders, very nice. You have the option of making them bigger or smaller, which is good, just in case you have a smaller cup and you don't want it to be shifting around in a bigger opening. Now, this is probably one of my favorite things about the Mercedes is their little kind of trackpad input device. There's a ton of great things with this. First of all, it feels great. And paired with this little armrest thing, it's so ergonomically comfortable. It's perfect. It really is. And so one of the things that I really like about this is at the top, we have kind of this little area where if you want to go to the next song, all you have to do is swipe. You just swipe and it goes to the next song or the previous. I don't have to push anything. I don't have to be in any menu. Just as long as you do that movement, any specific menu, so as long as you do the movement, it will go to the next song or the previous song, which is great. We have the trackpad itself is very good. It's very responsive, and I haven't had any issues with it. You push down on the option to activate the button. But yeah, it's a nice ergonomically placed pad, and it's very easy to use. Now we get over to the volume controls. Again, we have on the right side, we have that little cheese grater thing. We have another way of putting this here, and we have the buttons for quick menus to this, so you don't have to get out of it. You can just press those buttons, get out and then swipe through. You can press those buttons and it'll take you to that. So that's nice. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention regarding the CarPlay in this. One thing that I was a little was my wife wanted to play her music, so I disconnected my phone, plugged in her phone, and CarPlay would not set up unless I was stopped. I'm on the highway. I get it, safety, but if your passenger wants to set up, now we have to wait. So we had to do it the Bluetooth way, and it was fine, but obviously the CarPlay is nice to have the map going on when we're driving. So I don't know if that's an Apple thing or if it's more of a M thing before I activate that. So yeah, that was kind of only one small little detail. We get over to the armrest, and the armrest is really good. I like it because it's like a little door. It's like French doors. It's like French doors. It's a little button, and then they just both sides open up, and you have a good. It's pretty deep, which was nice. So it really gives you a nice amount of depth for the the keys, for anything you want to put in there. So that was surprisingly nice to have in that little area there. We get to the back seat, and as you guys know, if this is your first time of watching my channel, I have a kiddo. He's 6 years old. We have his seat in the back, very comfortable, no complaints there. He was perfectly happy back there. He loved this car. He wasn't kicking the front seat, so there was plenty of space for him to do that. So yeah, it was pretty spacious in the back as well for an adult. Now we get to the trunk side, and it's pretty big. It's got some good space in it. yeah, grocery run was fairly easy, no issues there. So it's definitely a pretty good overall package for a small SUV. If you're looking for a nice performance SUV and you're looking for, yeah, a good amount of space, this does the job. Now let's talk performance. Under here we have the AMG Enhanced 2.0 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. We're pumping out 302 horsepower and 295 of torque through an 8-speed auto and the 4MATIC system. Now, with this, the first time I got in it, it was a little scary. So the way that this behaved, think of it like if you're about to go walk your dog and you're trying to lock your door for your house, and your dog sees a squirrel and just runs. You have to immediately try to grip it. That's what I felt in this. What was weird is I accelerated, and granted, I've driven significantly more powerful cars, but what was happening is the car felt like I was, you know, like the steering wheel was going forward and I was trying to reach at it to, you know, control the car. That's because this thing has so much grip. The insane amount of grip in this, and those tires definitely have a lot to attribute to it. And with the 4MATIC system as well. So it's really a very, very grippy setup. It's surprising. And like I said, this was what made it kind of scary at first. But once you got used to it and can control it a little bit more, it became a little bit more predictable, so better. So think of it like the next time you go to walk your dog, you're ready in case there's a squirrel. You're ready to grab on that leash, you're ready to grab onto that steering wheel and make sure it just doesn't get away from you. But yeah, that sensation was really scary, but kind of exciting at the same time. So you do have that. Now, we did change a couple of things. We are in Sport Plus. We did go to the AMG Performance page for this, so we can see, you know, a couple of things. And then this one we just have right now because it just looks cool, is the horsepower and torque measures. So you can see right there, pretty cool stuff. I do love those it's a little gimmicky, but yeah, it's still fun. And again, with the boost here, I can see that on this. With the system as well, with this one, it does have the track pack. So I do have Circuit of the Americas, which is our local track here in Austin. But yeah, unfortunately I can't take this guy out on there. But it's got a lot of great telemetry stuff to, you know, help out with getting those times down closer to Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, don't think you'll get there, but it'll help you out a little bit. The other thing with this is we do have a little gear M button down here, and this goes full manual. And full manual for the automatic. Yes, I know, but it's really good because it will not shift up or down, so it's like a true manual. The only problem with that is the fact that because the shifter is on the steering column here, you only have the paddles. You don't have a traditional shifter on the center console, so it does make it a little bit more difficult because these paddle shifters are not the best ergonomically. They are a little bit on the taller side up than they are down. So and where you place your hands, yeah, you know, if you're turning the wheel just a little bit, you need a good, maybe about an inch and a half on the bottom to help you out if you're turning one way and you're able to, you know, press the bottom button or the bottom side of the paddle shifter. Now, one thing I don't like about this, and it's I can really tell, is there is an artificial engine sound. And I can tell because I'm pretty sensitive with sounds and where the source of them. And the reason I when I started pushing the car, and I started hearing the engine sound coming from my left and my right side. It didn't come from up front or the rear. So I couldn't find any official documentation that said this has that option, but you can definitely hear the sound coming from, like I said, the doors and not the front. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it, and I think it makes the engine sound not that good. And with this AMG enhanced engine, I think it can do fine without it. So what's funny is we have this, the GLA comes with kind of 3 levels of the engine. The first one is just the standard 2.0 turbo, and then the next one is the AMG enhanced, which is what this is in the 35, and I believe the next one is 45, but it has the wording is AMG handcrafted, or handcrafted AMG engine. So this one's like the AMG light, and it's not light at all though, in the sense of it still definitely packs a punch. And the brakes are just really good. The grip on these tires are exceptional with the 4MATIC. It really works amazing. Again, there's times where I still feel like the car is getting away from me, which is you know, a little nerve-wracking, but it's still a lot of fun. Yeah. Again, I wish the sound weren't artificial, because I don't know if you guys can probably hear it. Yeah, I don't think it needs it, and I've tried putting the volume all the way down to see if that made any difference. It doesn't. But yeah, overall the performance of this, just everything works so well in this. I'm extremely surprised. I've had a blast in this little car. My wife has had a blast in this. So she was wanting to look into this one a little bit more and say, hey, you know, what are some of the things that we can change? So for me, and I know for her, a couple of things we would add. This one doesn't have a sunroof, so we would definitely add the sunroof option. And I don't use it at all, like almost nothing for a sunroof, but it's nice to just have that. And the resale value, if you decide to sell it, it's easier to sell a car with a sunroof than one without. But I'll sometimes just open up the shade to just, you know, let in some natural light, or just to stargaze essentially. So that's what I would add to this. The other thing as well is the camera system on this is so bad. The standard one is so bad. The screen is really high quality, but the resolution of the camera is not good. So they do have like a 360 camera system. I would get that. I would get, like I mentioned, the wireless charger, just cause, yeah, those little things are gonna add. Change the seats to have the cooled option in them, and I think that's it. I think that's what I would change with this one. When I did that, you're looking at about, compared to this one, which was 55,000, almost 56,000, the one that I priced out and built, even, you know, the same GLA35, because this engine is fine, we're looking at about 66,000. So it's a little bit more, but I think it definitely is worth it. Now, who is this for? I think if you want a small, compact, performance, luxury, because it's definitely luxurious CUV, or compact, you know, yeah, I would say it's a CUV. This is it. We've test driven the Cadillac XT4. There are some great points on that one, but I think the weak points in that are not as, yeah, I think I would pick this over that. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed my review. I've had a blast in this thing. It's been a lot of fun. But yeah, remember, find the right gear. See ya.